thought I'd show Chicago as an Arctic blast is expected to hit on Friday, and that should last through the next week. And temperatures are expected to be 20 to 30 below freezing. On Saturday, we should see -2 degrees. But this comes after a week of snowfall. Earlier this week, we got 10 inches in one drop. And I'll go ahead and turn the camera around so we can take a look, and I'll continue talking. But we've already got a pretty good dump of snow here in Chicago. And this is just on the northern outskirts of downtown. And so a little bit more snow is expected this week. And sat in on a couple of Office of Emergency Management and Communications meetings this week. Executive Director there, Rich Gaitis, he has been suggesting people go and help their neighbors, whether they be elderly or disabled or other people with vulnerabilities, go out and check on them and make sure that they're okay. And then also we've got a guy that's in charge of the Department of Buildings here, Mr. Baudet, and he's put a warning out to landlords as this Arctic blast hits Chicago that they are responsible for keeping heat on for individuals that are renting in apartments there. And excuse my voice, it is a little cold out here right now. It's about 23 degrees. It's been snowing all week, pretty cold. But the Department of Buildings is going to be pretty serious during this Arctic blast. They want to make sure that people are safe. Public safety is #1 priority here in Chicago. That's coming straight from the Office of Emergency Management and Communications. And anybody who calls 311 with a landlord who's not providing heat during this time, it's going to be a $1,000 fine per day per violation. So they're taking that pretty seriously. They want to make sure people are warm. There's warming centers that are going to be open throughout the city. With the Streets and Sanitation Department, the deputy commissioner of that department, Cole Stoddard, says that they have just over 300 trucks, and that's plows and salt spreaders, and they've been spreading salt over the week, and they had about 360 tons of salt that were piled up throughout the city. And there are somewhere around 230 miles of streets throughout the city of Chicago. So a little over 300 trucks spreading that salt around, plowing. They hit the main roads first, and then their next step was to go into neighborhoods. And you know, there was enough snow, as I mentioned earlier before. There's about 10 inches that fell in one drop overnight just a couple of days ago. So they're pretty busy with those main streets. A lot of the neighborhoods and suburb areas around Chicago as well. The streets kind of look like this, where cars are blocked in. Maybe get a little bit closer here, but even some makeshift plows as people come through and kind of clear some areas. You've got snow piled up in the road. You got snow. People have come out and dug out their own cars, but you just got banks of snow all along the streets. Now, this is a dead end street, so maybe not a lot of attention to this, but this is probably pretty similar to what you're going to be seeing in the neighborhoods, the residential areas of Chicago right now. And then, as I said, an Arctic blast is on its way, and that should last throughout the next week. This is actually my truck right here. I haven't needed to go anywhere, but I did clear off the top of it. There was about 10 inches of snow on top of the truck. But yeah, we'll keep making our way down here. The city's gotten pretty serious about it, though. Public safety is #1. You know, we did have the Aragon Ballroom, which is a historic and very popular music venue, paved the way for a lot of musicians here in Chicago. The rooftop of that Aragon Ballroom in uptown Chicago did have a partial collapse this last snowfall. So the building department is urging people to go out and just make sure and clear as much snow as possible off of rooftops and off of any other surfaces that might get some damage, like patios, stuff like that. But as I said, you know, I'm talking kind of sporadically here because it is it's pretty cold, and it's going to get colder. It's going to get about 20 degrees colder than it is right now. It's 23 degrees right now. Over the next couple of days, expected to get -2 degrees, -3 degrees on one of the days over the weekend. This is something really kind of exciting to see when you think about it. There's not a lot of major metropolitan cities that you get a chance to see just covered in snow in America. Of course, there's plenty of them, but really, if you add up the numbers, there's just not a lot. And the biggest ones, New York and Chicago. It's always great to take a nice look at them when they're covered in snow. Plus, there's lots of nice buildings to look at as well. And the wind has died down a little bit from when I first initially wanted to broadcast. We have been getting gusts about 35 miles, 40 miles an hour. So that added with the cold weather and the Arctic blast making its way through, you can imagine it's feeling pretty darn cold here in Chicago. But another thing is we're right here on Lake Michigan, downtown Chicago, and there has been flood advisories in the past week that were issued as wind was expected to blow the water, which is 3 feet above the usual level right now. So it's already pretty high. And then you add the frozen banks, and then you add the waves that are caused by the wind that got up pretty high over the weekend, and really urging people to stay away from the lakeshore area. There's properties on the north and south side of the lake that have been damaged in the last few flood advisories over the past year. Someone did actually get blown into the water about 1.5 years ago during one of those storms and lost their life. And at this point, right around the lakeshore, there's a lot of frozen ice. And so you got the younger kids and adults alike. They're the daredevils around here. They're walking out there on the lake, and it's actually kind of a scary sight. I went down there, and you can see the ice around the lakeshore, kind of pulsate as the waves go underneath that ice. And there's people out there on that ice, not necessarily thinking that they're going to fall through, but then those waves come through, and you can feel and see the rumble as that cold water brushes underneath the ice, which could easily break away. So the Office of Emergency Management and Communications, of course, urging people to stay away from that area for sure. It's even to the point where we're urging people to move their vehicles from the nearby area. Rich Guidis, the executive director of the OEMC, kind of made a joke, but he was more serious than anything. Telling people that they might want to move their car over the weekend because they don't want to come Monday morning to a car full of ice, ice water. So there's the Sears Tower there in the background. Yeah, maybe we'll check in over the weekend if we see any more snow. But it will get pretty cold. There's a lot of people. There's people that are dealing with homelessness in Chicago as well. A lot of really fantastic community groups putting an effort in to take them propane and blankets and tents and food. Real good hot meals too from restaurants. One of the organizations here locally, Shy Care, has recently made national news. Started off with just a guy in his little car driving around, stopping and kind of feeding people as he went. And then someone got word of that. He ended up getting some grants. Somebody donated a van to him. So now he's got a whole team of volunteers that goes out and tries to take care of these guys. And there's a lot of organizations like that. But you gotta imagine. I've been walking around for 10 minutes in 23-degree weather, and I'm about to call it quits here. Go inside and get warm, and I can just only imagine what those people are experiencing, no matter what the situation is that leads them to be there underneath the bridge or along the side of the street. They're human beings experiencing just really terrible winter conditions this weekend. So, Brandon Eisen, I'm with WBBM News Radio in Chicago. You can download the radio.com app and find out what's going on with the weather. I know we're going to be covering a lot of what's going on because there's a lot involved here, as I said, with the Office of Emergency Management, Communication, Streets and Sanitation, the Buildings Department, all the organizations out helping people. There's going to be a lot to say during this period of time. Winter storms here in Chicago. Signing off.